Welcome to Roar Nation. This is going to be an epic show. You know why it's going to be so epic? Let me start this out. Her name is Sparky. I love it. I love it.
My name is Helice, like hell on ice.
Okay.
And my last name is Bridges, like a bridge builder.
Okay.
But everybody calls me Sparky, or even Grandma Sparky now. About 40 years ago, I was a millionaire. Had a home on the ocean here, overlooking the ocean, and I was with an abusive husband. He actually was controlling and intimidating and verbally abusive. But you know, in those days, I just wanted to be the woman behind the man and take care of my kids.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was also a number 1 salesperson in Western United States for real estate.
Wow.
So I bought 60 homes with no money down in 6 months.
Wow.
We became millionaires, multimillionaires. But here's the thing that I learned. We don't realize how people crush us with our words and put us down, tell us what's not working. And pretty soon, I didn't know, but as beautiful as I looked on the outside, inside, over the years of our marriage, I felt less and less like I didn't even know I had a spark or a light, and it just dimmed until one day I decided to commit suicide.
Wow.
And I was so broken, and here you have $1 million home overlooking the ocean, and I was crushed, and I'm on the floor begging for God, and I said, please help me. I want to take my life. And I heard a voice that said, you can't take your life because you're going to sing, dance, write, and have a musical on Broadway in New York City. Wow. It came right through me.
All that came through.
It came through in a time where I didn't know anything about spirituality, or I'm a mom and a businesswoman and a wife, and I went from crying and sobbing to go, really?
So I was listening to a podcast, and Rob Dyrdek, big star on MTV and a great guy, he talked about he was surfing for the first time in his life, and he decided to go on the pipeline, of all places. Right. Never surfed before in his life. Long story short, this big 40-foot wave takes him under and presses him under.
Yes.
He's fighting for his life, right? Cannot move. He got to a point where he said he gave up, and it shot him up. It just shot him up.
Exactly.
He went to the surface because he just said, I can't fight this. I can't control this. And as we know, the universe said, it saved his life.
Now that you said it, it's like, it was that kind of scream that was it. I was dead.
Mm-hmm. That was it.
That was it.
You go, that's it.
That's it. I'm dead.
I'm done.
I'm done. And I just need help. And in a way that the scream was so sudden, and the voice that came through was so quiet and so beautiful and so blissful. And it just struck me. It was just, wow. It didn't even question the voice. It sounded like me speaking from
a familiar voice.
A very familiar voice, speaking in hallowed ground, just telling me. And then I shot up, and I got so excited. Now, I guess the thing about this, you go from one person to all of a sudden a musical on Broadway, singing, dancing, and writing.
Right.
I ran to my husband and I said, I want to sing, dance, write, and have a musical on Broadway. I'd like to put my real estate career on the back burner.
Wow.
And he just rolled his eyes to the ceiling, never acknowledged me, and just continued to read the sports section. And then I ran to my next door neighbor, and here's where my life really changed. I ran to my next door neighbor and I said, I want to sing and dance and write and have a musical on Broadway. And she said, what are you, crazy? And I remember thinking, and I asked her, I said, do you have a dream? And she said, yes. And I said, what is it? And she said, to make jewelry. And I said, well, how come you're not doing it? She said, because if I don't make money, my husband will kill me. Wow. And all of a sudden, I got so mad. I walked out and I went, my parents always said, you could do it, honey, go for your dreams. And here, for the first time, I'm a millionaire, and all of a sudden I'm asking for support, and all I heard was, I won't do it. And I never heard that before. But I got really mad, and I called up a client of mine who was on Broadway in New York, and I said, what do I do? And she said, go down and audition at Stage 7 downtown San Diego. And I went down and auditioned with young people 17 to 23. I was 37. And they were professionals on Broadway and Las Vegas stages. Now here's the take the risk part, okay? And I'll just say that I think there's certain 3 or 4 pivotal things that happen to get me to 40 million people being impacted by my work now. But at the time, when I went down there, and they're all singing, and they're fantastic, and everybody's applauding like crazy. I get up, I can't sing, and I screech out these two out of 4 lines. I go, starting here, starting now. And the director goes, stop. She doesn't, pick up the beat, play the piano more, and I scream it out again, and there was nobody applauded. They all looked at me like, and went silent. And I'm just all proud, I'm buttons popping off of my blouse. So I took the risk, and I stood up there and I'm smiling like a Cheshire cat, and I go, so how was I? And they all go, and they just start to applaud little by little, and they applauded. Then anyway, I landed the role because they thought I was a comedian.
I love it. So I want to underline here, circle and put neon signs around. At the end of the day, massive effective action becomes magical, right? It becomes magical. It starts to unfold in ways that we have no clue, but you just keep taking that action. Is that?
Yeah, and now I know it's magic. Now in my book, my book, Ignite What's Right, One Woman's Journey to Bring Love to the World, it has 3 main chapters. It's flat world, round world, out of this world. We're talking out of this world now. Right. We're talking in the flow. Yeah. And flat world is, the blame, the shame, the fear, the negativity. You can't do
toxic.
It's all toxic, and it says you can't. And it gets mixed up because it says we're in a land of the free and the home of the brave, and you can make your dreams come true, and it's but. And then to get from there into this context where all of a sudden you're in round world where people are encouraging you and supporting you, and they're all talking about their dreams, and we're helping each other. And that flow, that magic that you're talking about, in out of this world, I was in out of this world for 3 years. There's no thought that came through me.
So was this right after your audition?
I left my husband. The minute because I'm in rehearsal for 3 months, and we're having a blast, I'm with young people, I'm the mama. Yeah. And
but it's your oxygen.
Oh, and I was so turned on, and I learned how to sing, and I learned how to perform with them, and I wasn't doing my real estate anymore, and I realized I'd rather be with people who encourage me and support me. And I came home and I looked at my husband, I said, I'm out of here. And I actually walked out of our $1 million home because I couldn't fight him. I was so
right. No. Left. It has to. It just the clearer that slate, right, the better. This is coming from real world, right? This is live and in color, right? But what people have to understand is when you can get into that place, the material stuff, really, at the end of the day, when the smoke clears, it means nothing. Right? It means nothing. Yeah. I did a video the other day, and I said, the why nots, right? And what people seem to forget, or they don't realize, that you want to be in that world, you want to be in that positive environment, you want to be in that great feeling like you were, right? But here's what else the why nots don't do. I mean, they do for you, is they take all the excuses away. So now when you go to somebody and you say, if you went to your neighbor and you said, I'm gonna sing on Broadway, and she said, why not? Now she just called you out. See what why nots do? They call you out and say, Okay, why wouldn't you? Now for those people that they can't find that courage at that moment. They want to do it, but your neighbor is, now if we go the other way with that, your neighbor let her husband completely suffocate her dreams.
Yes. And we're raw and real. When we're in it, we're in it. Mm-hmm. And we don't even know there's a bigger world. Mm-hmm. We don't know that there's people around us that are encouraging and supporting and nurturing and helping us thrive. Mm-hmm. We don't know that world. When I left my husband, I wound up asking, how can I make a difference? Now, let me tell you about the hunger inside of people and how we serve it, because it's really important. Okay. Very few people ever have anybody that tells them that they matter, that they're loved the way they are. I mean, we have to get our own self-worth up, and we pay a bunch of money. I did. Yeah. Over the years, I've been in every training possible to just find out who I am, why I'm here, the difference I can make.
Build that self-image. Yeah.
It's that part. It's like we've gone to outer space. The last frontier is inner space. I became co-chair of the San Diego Hunger Project in 1980. I went and spoke to thousands of people about ending world hunger, and I found out that people came to me after and they said, I'm starving myself. My husband just lost his job. We're going to lose our home. A kid says, my mother's got cancer. Somebody else says, my brother just got arrested for drugs. And I'm going through a divorce. I don't even know who I am yet. I don't know what to do. I stepped back and I said, maybe people needed to be loved like me. And I went up to my kids' teachers and my neighbors, and I said to them, I have a blue ribbon, and it says, who I am makes a difference, and I'd love to honor you and tell you how you matter to me. So I said, would you accept my gift? May I have permission to place it on you? And I would place it above their heart and cheer them on for their dreams. And because of that, it caught on, and 35,000 people were honored in the first 3 months because everybody wanted a ribbon. I did not know what this was. I did not know that love works. I did not know that once you tell somebody that they matter, they feel safe and supported, and there's a connection, a heart-to-heart connection. You can't put words to it. And everybody started screaming, I want a ribbon for my organization, the senior citizens, the business, our board of directors.
Absolutely.
Before you know it, everybody wanted a blue ribbon. And like I say, today we're at 40 million, going for $1 billion by 2020. Let me honor you, may I?
Absolutely.
Okay, I want to first say that these ribbons are printed, hand cut, counted, and packaged and put into bags and shipped around the world in 12 languages by adults with disabilities. We pay them for 25 years to do this. There's a lot of love in this ribbon. Wow. Dave, I have this blue ribbon for you, and it says, who I am makes a difference, and I love to honor you. I love to honor you for the level that you take me to and everybody else, the consciousness that you roar it. You tell us, whoa, hold on a second. It's not about the wealth. It's about the internal wealth. It's about the abundance and the treasures that we're given from the universe. It's about pausing and looking and feeling and being with each other in a way that's outrageous. Because you're outrageous, your book is outrageous, your body is outrageous, you're the real deal. Oh God, you're a blast. Would you accept this gift?
100%.
May I place it on you?
Absolutely.
It goes above your heart, up toward all your greatest dreams coming true. When you look at that ribbon, be reminded that one of the most powerful grandmas on this planet said, you rock, you go for your dreams. Anywhere I can support you, encourage you, connect you, so that your dream comes true is my dream for you. And it is tradition to take the spark from my heart and place that into your ribbon. It's the sound of making dreams come true. So I take the spark from my heart and put it in the ribbon and go, bing, B-I-N-G, bing. And every time you hear a bing, you'll know that someone somewhere just got their dream because we're cheering each other.
Oh my God, I love it. Oh, I love it. I love it. That is the real, right?
Yeah.
The energy that we spoke about that's unspoken cannot be created. It just is.
We don't know that. We're over inundated. And here's what I know about bullies, and here's what I know about human beings, and here's what I know about myself. One is I found out that every time I honored somebody, they rose to the level of their innate greatness. That the biggest bully in the school, who was 16 years old, Josh, got a ribbon, and he actually, we did a whole training program for, it's called Blue Ribbon Week in schools, and the kids started honoring each other. And one kid came up to him and said, "You're the biggest jerk in the whole school." And he said, Josh was homeless. Nobody knew that. Everybody else had shoes. He had only one pair of shoes. He had one pair of clothes. He was dumpster diving. And his mother was a heroin addict. And he was helping to feed her. And he went to every kid in the school that he hurt. And he apologized to all his teachers. And his principal nominated him for the Above and Beyond Award in San Diego. And he was one of 5 kids that won it. And 30 days later, because he changed the culture of his school, because he started honoring everybody.
And see, for me, what I love about that story, and I say this all the time, the greatest gift that an adult can give any child is a bulletproof self-image. So he went from that fearful state to that courageous state, and that courage that it took that young man to do that at that age, right? Again, it's the energy. It's the pure intention.
It's that, and it's the space in which he found himself in, which was safe, supportive. It's like Maslow's hierarchy. You know, your basic human needs are food, which he didn't have so much of. But then the next is safety. The next is a sense of belonging. Then you have esteem for yourself, esteem for others, and self-actualized. What it is, and I've found this to be true with this, I've honored a million people. And it's when it's loving, and it's supportive, and it's nurturing, and asks you for nothing. But sees who you really are. And when you get seen and heard and loved and nurtured and respected and encouraged, the level of your whole being shoots up, and they don't feel judged. All that goes away, and from that, there's a bond. And I say that people don't know how to get there because there is no space for that, or it's rare. I invite everybody to honor people with a blue ribbon and go to blueribbons.org and through our nonprofit, so we can reach a billion people. But once you honor somebody, whether it's your kids, whether it's your teacher, your boss, your neighbor, or yourself, it elevates our breathing.
Here's where I go with that. It's a doorway to that space, and you're welcoming them into that space that maybe even subconsciously they didn't even know that they were yearning for, right? So when you have somebody say, that's the first time anybody, right, said that to me, that I mattered, this is now the gateway to open for that space. And now you're giving the opportunity to do that for somebody else. And that's the ultimate.
In the story in my book, my first story went into Chicken Soup for the Soul, and it was about a father who honored his son with the blue ribbon. And the boy, when he came home from, he was boss, he was very grouchy, and one of the junior executives honored him and gave him the extra ribbons to pay it forward. And so the grouchy boss comes home in New York traffic. Who am I going to honor? Who am I going to honor? He sits his 14-year-old boy down and he says, "Every night I come home, I yell at you for not cleaning up your room or getting better grades in school. But tonight, son, I just want to tell you that who you are makes a difference, and I love you." And he places the ribbon above his heart. And the boy starts to sob, and he cannot stop crying. And he goes over to a drawer, opens a drawer, pulls out a gun, looks at his dad. He said, "I was planning on committing suicide tomorrow, Dad, because I didn't think you loved me.
Wow.
And now I don't have to."
Wow. That is everything. And that is ultimately when you're on that floor in your $1 million home and you're saying, this is it.
Right.
And the universe, God, whatever you want to title it, is saying, no. Can you remember a time when You were in you're raising your family, you're doing your business, you're doing your whole thing. Is there, or even younger than that, was there a time where you thought about being a part of changing the world, being a part of making a difference?
Okay, I would just say there was no thought about it ever. Let me just say...
No conscious thought.
Yeah, no conscious thought. I was a cheerleader in school,
Right.
okay? I was always a rah-rah kind of person. I was great in business because I connected with people. I loved
relationships.
that. Yeah, I loved my kids. I was a mom and a wife. That's it, folks. When I popped up, when I left, and that's the key. I think when you pull away from dysfunction, then something comes, then there's something that comes in. That just comes in and it wakes us up.
Yeah.
You know, it's all of a sudden we can't do that anymore.
Yes.
I don't know what I'm going to do. And I'm kind of, you know, mixed up. And most people like me, I'm a world leader now, but all of us we call ourselves in transition in those days, back in the days with Jack Canfield, who was the co-author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, and all of us, we were in transition. We didn't know who we were going to be, but we hung with each other. We could hear each other.
And you were attracted to each other.
It's the lights attract light.
Yeah.
But here's I think the brilliance and the gift is there's a door that does open. We're all starving, including myself, for love. You know, I love to get acknowledged. I love to be honored. I've learned to receive that rather than go, oh yeah, this whole thing. Or you don't really mean that, or if you knew me like my husband did, you wouldn't say that.
Or what do you want?
Yeah,
right?
Or what do you want? But it took me a long time to understand how to receive love and believe that I was worthy of it.
That's it. That is the message that you have to blast out to the rooftops. If you ask me, what niche would you want to work with? There's not even a second place. You ready? Women and women in business. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
The baddest human being on a planet, on this planet, bar none, is a good woman. And what's my definition of a good woman? A woman that handles her business both personally and professionally. And we both know women that don't, and we both know women that do.
Right.
So that's my simple, to the point definition. And I tell people all the time, and I did a keynote yesterday, I said, anybody that doesn't agree and doesn't acknowledge that, I will take them into any professional office right now, whether it's a dentist office, doctor office, attorney, accountant, I don't care what it is. Who's running the show? Women, okay? Who's running the household? Women. Women, a good woman can do it all and ask for more. In every one of my businesses, women ran it. I just happened to show up. Here's the problem that they run into. Their DNA, your DNA, is caregiver. And when you don't put yourself first, you go against nature. Nature tells us, right, that alpha has to eat first in order for the pack to survive tomorrow. And when I tell that to women, so many women, they look down. And because that's the hardest thing for them to get and grasp, that you have to be able to, and I go back to accepting, right, the worthiness of doing that.
All right, for us as caregivers, because that's our DNA, I get that.
It is.
But let me also say that we're evolving.
Yes.
Consciousness is about evolving.
Okay.
It's really about acknowledging that, wow, I didn't know that there was a bigger me inside. I didn't know that. Honestly, I didn't know that.
Yes.
But when I step into and I listen to other great women or other great men, when I was at the Environmental Earth Summit, I'll tell you, I had ribbons. I'm sitting next to Neil Armstrong, who landed on the moon.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
I'm going to be speaking on a stage with all the global leaders at some point following the Dali, Lama and so forth. I got a ribbon. That's all I know. Okay?
Right.
But here's the thing that I didn't know, and I want to talk about the vulnerability and not expect that we can go from where we are to where we want to be in a heartbeat, but to acknowledge it.
Okay.
So when I was at the Environmental Earth Summit, I was going to speak in 14 days. So I had every day for 14 days to listen to world leaders. I turned to this man next to me, not knowing who he was, and I said, "Sir," I said, "what brought you to the Environmental Earth Summit?" He said, "You see the poster on the wall there, that Mother Earth?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "I'm the astronaut that took that picture."
Wow.
And then he said, I always thought that math and science would be the answers to the global problems until I went to outer space. And when I was in outer space, I realized the only way the problems of the world can be solved was from the heart. But here's the thing about being a woman that I have learned for myself. I've learned that I can talk about my vulnerability. I can talk about, look, I'm 75, I'm still learning who I am. And anybody that I talk to that's, that has reached the level that I have reached, we also say it, what? Who are we? What's next?
Yeah.
So in this sweet spot is important to, I think, be able to honor that the empowerment, the nurturing, the support, the encouragement, the sweet push, because when I duplicate myself with, my students are ages 9 to 100. And you had one of them, Rayanne Gardner, on your program. She from Minnesota. She just loves you. But she is communications coordinator in her little town of Eden, of Elk River, Minnesota. 23,000 people. She sends me a 2-paragraph email just to my company and says, our a police chief and his son were shot and killed by their other son, and I was at the funeral and I was devastated. And I didn't know what to do, and I'm sobbing when our fire chief came over and handed me a small white envelope, said, "Go home and open it when you get home." When she got home, she opened it and there was a ribbon in there.
Wow.
And a little note from him. And this is 2 paragraphs in an email. And I emailed her back. I said, "Could that have been Fire Chief John Cunningham?" She emailed me back and said, "How do you know?" I said, "Because I received a letter from him in 2010. It was 9 years after 9/11. He was at Ground Zero at 9/11, leaving Ground Zero when all of the people were cheering on both sides. But a little girl broke from the crowd, ran under the barrier, and ran up and gave him a blue ribbon and placed it above the star." And he emailed me that, and he said, "That is a message I will live by for the rest of my life."
Wow.
And I said, and for some reason, I was so overwhelmed by receiving that, I never even responded. And she said, "Oh my God, Chief is in the office right next to mine."
Wow.
And I said,
wow.
"I believe I've been waiting for who's going to help me launch the 1 billion dream."
Wow.
And Chief Cunningham was on CBS with a ribbon in his hand, saying, "This is something I want to see duplicated all over the world."
Wow.
And then he handed the gauntlet to Rayanne, and he said, "I believe you can do this." And then she came out last October to do my training, Standing Strong Together. But now she's in a team of leaders that are all cultivating her. And when she was on your program, after she came home, I think she had 100 people in the first hour, and she told me she's got 1,000 people that are following her now.
I love it.
And now she says, "I'm a world leader and I'm going to get on stage." And before it was like, she didn't know she had this power. And that's what I'm saying. If you can acknowledge somebody, if you can give them the kind of support and the training, like we were all, the training program we're doing is called Standing Strong Together. We need to feel together, to express together, to learn how to honor each other, to support each other's dreams. I call it a 5-star foundation, where I say the first thing I have to learn for myself, the first part of the star, is to acknowledge the worth of myself.
Yes.
Which has taken me a long time to do. And then from the second part of the star is to be able to acknowledge the worth of others, to see what they do right instead of what they do wrong. And then to be able to build trust through communicating with love and respect. And then from there, then you can empower and have a voice to empower and support your dreams and the dreams of others, so you can take a stand for yourself. And the 5th part of the star is to make a difference in our community, country, and world.
Man.
Our tagline for Blue Ribbons Worldwide is uniting humanity through the power of acknowledgement. So the uniting of humanity
Through the
That,
power.
yes, you can't plant the seed in unfertilized soil. You got to turn the soil, the farmers tell me. We don't plant it in nutrient-poor soil. We turn the soil, we prepare the soil to plant the seed, and then we add the water and the nutrients and the sun and all that. In our educational system, we actually put a Band-Aid on everything. We're not turning the soil. We're not finding out who we are and what our dreams are. We're not cultivating safe, supportive, nurturing environments because we don't know how to do that. A child raises her hand to answer a question and gets it wrong, and the teacher says, "What's the matter? Didn't you study?" That last time the hand will go up. You get shut down by the time you're in 3rd grade.
It stifles that growth. And I want to mention the story about Ground Zero.
Yeah.
I mean, but think about the impact
Right.
you made and this ribbon made on that little girl. I mean, that right there, to do what she did, the belief,
That's right.
the feeling, the confidence, the self-image, right? To be able to do that at that time, right? For anybody that remembers that, it was, it was wild. So that right there, I mean, it just shows you what a trickle-down effect, right? It has. Because the intention's pure,
Right.
and it's all about giving back. It's the ultimate gift, right?
It's the ultimate gift. And let me just say
Yeah,
something. Kids get this in a heartbeat. They'll run around and honor.
Right.
They'll stand in front of a mirror and the ribbon. The little kids,
Yeah.
they'll have a mirror on their ribbon, a ribbon on their mirror,
Yeah.
and they'll stand there. And one parent said to me, they took a video of this, and they said, "I watched my 4-year-old look at the ribbon and the mirror and say, 'Who I am makes a difference. I can make my dreams come true.'" Bing!
Yeah.
And they happen to be walking by, they get it. For anybody that's thinking about mattering, all right, that go home and just tell your children that you love them. Your wife, your neighbors, I got to tell you a boss story. The junior executive that honored his boss, who went home and saved his 14-year-old boy's life, came because a school teacher in New York got a bag of 100 ribbons, and she honored each of her students in the room, one at a time.
Wow.
And she took the whole 30 minutes of the period, and that was her risk. And she cheered them all on for their dreams and gave them 3 ribbons and said, "Go out in the community." And that one person, she didn't know this, that one person, that one school teacher that created that and gave away the ribbons is why that boy, the high school senior, went to the junior executive and honored him, who honored his boss, who saved that boy's life. That's community. That's unity. And that created a 3-page story in Chicken Soup that went viral all over the world, that had everybody come to our nonprofit and want more ribbons in 12 languages. You can't buy that.
No. Yeah. And it just is.
That's right.
It just is. And I believe it maps back to that pure intention. And when that intention is pure, you are bulletproof. It just, again, instead of paddling upstream, you just go.
While we tap in, because it's here and you hear it everywhere, if you are hearing every day, there's 432 negative messages for 2-year-olds to only about 30 positive ones. Think about that.
That's a little lopsided.
This is, by the way, not only is it lopsided, but 80% of people in our country, in our world, hear what they're doing wrong. And they're psychologically damaged by this. Only 20%, possibly 20%, according to statistics, can even rise above to even make that difference. So if you happen to be a person that is surrounded by people that tell you, you don't say thank God it's Monday, you think thank God it's Friday.
Right.
I want to just honor Blue Cross Blue Shield for a moment, who hired me to come out and train their managers. And I had them go out to lunch and honor people during the lunch hour. Here is a plaque that says, we're not here just to make a living, we're here to make a difference with a blue ribbon on it. That's framed, it's like 16 by 18.
Right.
People buy these certificates so they can honor people through Blue Ribbons worldwide. They brought the ribbons into the prison system, and I apologize because I don't remember what state it is.
Right.
But he just said, I'm going in the prison system, and I'm going to ask if we can honor each other. What happened is this prison system started to have the inmates honoring each other and honoring the guards.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's changing the whole culture where they're going, really, what's your dream? How can I help you? What do you need?
I love it.
You gotta love that. Bing!
You do, because chances are they wound up there right? Because they weren't told that. And more importantly, not only weren't they told that, they didn't believe it.
That's right.
And see, that's the difference. That's the game changer. So is there anything that you want to share, some golden nuggets, before we do jump off?
Just what I want to say is that we're going for 1 billion people to be honored.
That's the goal, right?
That's the goal.
Okay.
So one person can make that difference wherever they are in their corporations, organizations, schools, youth groups.
Okay.
And I want to invite everybody to participate with me.
Yes.
And so I can teach them how to do the 7-step ceremony and invite them. But the most important thing in all the world is to be able to begin to look at another human being and just say, I love you. Who you are makes a difference. And then the more you look and see what works in the world, the more what works shows up.
Say that again.
The more you look and to see what's working in the world, the more what's working will show up. And that's where you fall in love and go into a whole new world. My Ignite What's Right book, One Woman's Journey to Bring Love to the World, I found out that flat world doesn't work for me. I can't stay in a negative environment. Round world is more, it just gives me the juice and the fertile soil to grow my greatness, and I can talk about my dreams. And I can give you a being, and you can give it to me, and we can fertilize each other with empowerment, support, and nurturement. And that takes us out of this world where we're in the flow, and all of a sudden everything that we want comes toward us with ease and grace and goodness and God.
I love it. I love it. And as you know better than anybody, we both believe that you can, when you decide to be in a state of mind, you can only be in one state of mind at a time, right? So if you are in that victim state, what happens? There's no room for gratitude. There's no room for that love. There's no room for that joy. But if you decide that you want to be in that state, there's no room for the negative. And I'm a big believer that neither one of us write the rules, right? Life makes the rules, right? Life makes the rules. And life always asks the questions. And right now, even though I know this answer, life is asking Sparky, if you could live your life purring like a kitten or roaring like a lion, what would you do? What would you do?
I would roar!
Are you ready? We're going to take this out Monster Motivator style, baby. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Ah! I love it.